Hello, and welcome to AOS Aspirant, where I will be logging my dive into Warhammer Age of Sigmar. Today I will be talking about why I am making the move from Warhammer 40K to Age of Sigmar. So I'd like to open up by saying, in no way do I actually want to give up Warhammer 40K. It's a game that I've absolutely loved, it's a game that I've absolutely loved for years, and it's a game that I think I'm going to continue to love for many, many years to come. So I got into 40K, I think the same way that a lot of people got into 40K. Well, basically I was just at a friend's house, I see his models, and really ever since that day, I don't know what it was about it, but I just got absolutely hooked. I loved the look of the models, I loved the feel of the models, I loved imagining all of the rules behind these weird-looking Tyranid bugs that I saw, and I just wanted to learn more. So I really remember after that point, it was pretty much every Christmas, every birthday, I just wanted more and more 40K. This really carried on for the next few years, where I would casually collect the game, but I really couldn't play with anybody. This was just because none of my friendship group were really into 40K, at least not the same way I was, and the only other person who seemed to be interested was my younger brother, and although he was very, very excited to play with me, he was 8 years younger, and it wasn't really a very competitive match when I'm the only one who knows any of the rules, and he's just sort of going along, rolling dice, not really knowing what's happening. So over the next few years, I had the chance to really build up a fairly sizable Terran Space Marine army. But just basically because, it's high school, my interests were shifting, and I really had nobody else in my friendship group to play with, I eventually sort of fell out of Warhammer 40K. But even though I hadn't collected or built any models for a good few years, there was always a space in the back of my mind that wanted me to keep joining 40K. So my 40K life sort of goes on hiatus for a couple of years until I start back up at university. And at university, I end up meeting a good few friends, and we get talking one night, I remember, and it comes out of a wash that we were all interested in 40K, we've all been interested in for a few years, and we actually find out that we all have an old store of Warhammer. So we all agree, we're actually going to do it. We set up our first couple of games, and the love for the hobby just absolutely jumps out and grabs me yet again. At the same time, I start keeping up with some of the competitive meta. I start watching a lot of YouTube about Warhammer, I start getting into the lore, and I really start to think competitively about the game. To the point where me and my friends, we start making lists, we start really going at it, we're playing a lot of games on TTS, a lot of games in person, just absolutely trying to find the best lists to compete against each other, really see how far we can push the boat out, and really keeping up with the rules updates for 40K. And this is a side of a hobby that I absolutely love. I love building lists, I love testing them out, trying new crazy ideas. But eventually we start looking into the models for Age of Sigmar, and I think it has to be said, at least in my own personal opinion, some of the models in Age of Sigmar are absolutely gorgeous. And I think the creative freedom that a lot of the team at GW probably have, with Age of Sigmar, because it's a slightly smaller business, because it's not as ubiquitous as 40K, they might have a bit more design freedom. But I think there's also a lot of inspiration that we can all take when looking at the fantasy setting. A lot of us have a big passion for historical conflicts. A lot of us have, this romanticized idea of knights charging on a battlefield. And I think this really takes a lot of us. And it really, when I started looking at the models and when my friends started showing me a lot, I just had this urge yet again that I wanted to get some new models, build a new army, and really, try something new. And this has all sort of escalated to the point where me and a few friends, we've all agreed that we really want to start seriously collecting Age of Sigmar. So what we've done is we've all sort of picked a few factions that interest us, and we're going to try to set up a small escalation league. And really, this channel is going to be me logging my journey into Warhammer Age of Sigmar from coming from a Warhammer 40K background. Hopefully these videos would be interesting to people in a similar position to me, wanting to learn how to play Age of Sigmar, maybe being able to get some inspiration, get some knowledge out of my videos. And if you're a veteran of the hobby, maybe this is an opportunity to sort of reminisce over your joining, or at the very least, maybe to laugh at a lot of the mistakes, a lot of misconceptions that I'm going to have coming from 40K into this. I would hope to, in the future, eventually break down some unit analysis, look in tactics, look at a competitive meta, but I think this is going to have to be a few months off until I really get a foot on the ground. So if you feel interested in seeing my journey into the world of Age of Sigmar, please feel free to like and subscribe, and I hope to see you next time.